The NBA has been serving up some delicious storylines. Some players in particular have been playing out of their skin. Devin Booker in particular has been tearing up the league like he usually does and finds himself in the MVP discussions. Kevin Durant's another one of those players having a great season, and he believes that fellow star Devin Booker and Jason Tatum are ridiculous. We'll review that and Booker's beast mode moments, starting with KD's admiration for Devin Booker and Jason Tatum. Despite having a staggering night himself on that date, the scoring legend Kevin Durant was left in awe in regards to Devin Booker and Jason Tatum. In fact, he loved their performances so much that he couldn't stop himself from tweeting about it. The Brooklyn Nets star went nuts earlier this month, dropping 39 points on only 20 shots, but for him, it was the displays from Phoenix's Booker and Boston's Tatum that truly left him speechless. The legendary scorer had a not safe for work reaction as he tweeted out, 20-25 is f***ing ridiculous, Devin Booker. And well, he's not really wrong, is he? Making 20 of the 25 shots that you take is a truly outrageous feat, and it's even better when you've been doing it a little too regularly. But it was probably the fact that Booker checked out after the third quarter and didn't return for the fourth and still had 51 points to show for it. Crazy. Only a few minutes later, KD tweeted again, and this time he had more to say about the ongoing action in the NBA. 49, 8-12 from Tracy is ridiculous, Jason Tatum. It's a lot of cooking going on in this league, man. Clearly, someone was having a lot of fun after a brilliant performance, and the entertainment on the show by the Suns and the Celtics was something that pleased KD quite a bit. Tatum's shooting wasn't as sensational as Booker, but he still had unreal numbers to show for the night. So let's look at those two performances. So we have Booker's ridiculous performance. Last year, Devin Booker was the best player on the best roster in the league, and he was unlucky to miss out on the MVP award. This year, he hasn't been as consistent as before, but he's still been having some sensational nights. Unfortunately for the deflated Chicago Bulls, Booker decided to put on a show on Wednesday night as the Suns swept them aside 132-113 with relative ease. To score 50 points is, simply put, a fantastic achievement on its own, but to do it after only 3 quarters is probably even wilder if you think about it. Booker's efficiency was on display as he took 25 shots and made 20 of them on 80% shooting, which led to 51 points in only 31 minutes of playing time. In fact, he became only the 4th player in history to score 50 points or more with 25 or fewer shots in 31 minutes or less. It's an amazing company to be in. CJ McCollum did it back in 2018 when he scored 50 from 25 shots in 29. Next player to do it was James Harden, who was unstoppable on that November night of 2019 when he scored 60 on 24 shots in only 31 minutes. This year, though, it's not only Booker who's done it, as Joel Embiid also scored 50 on 23 shots in 27 minutes back in January. The Suns were without Chris Paul, so Booker took over, and that third quarter stretch showed that he's more than capable of doing so on his own when he scored 26 points in 12 minutes only. Next, Tatum drops 49 to sink heat. As far as Jason Tatum is concerned, he also came up with the goods earlier this month, like he has been for the rest of the season. His 49 points were the highlight of the game as the Celtics ran Miami ragged in Boston. Tatum scored 49 points and had 11 rebounds, both game highs by a fair bit, and had 3 assists as well from his fantastic night out. Up until that point, Tatum was enjoying a blistering season with 31 points per game, nearly, but he absolutely exploded against Miami to score 49 points, and he only had 25 field goal attempts. He was averaging 66% from 3-point range, as he fell 1 point short of a 50-point game, but there was still a lot to celebrate. The win, for obvious reasons, will stand out, but Tatum also became the youngest player in NBA history to reach 900 made 3-pointers, and that's a pretty decent achievement. He could definitely afford a smile as the fans chanted MVP in the first quarter for the Celtics star. Will he win it? Now, let's look at the times Devin Booker went beast mode. Devin Booker is one of the most impressive talents in the NBA, and the Suns are lucky to have him. And a couple of his performances from this month remind us just how special he is. So we're listing the moments when he went beast mode. We're sure you know which moment makes it to number 1, but can you guess the other ones? First up, Booker versus the Utah Jazz 2022, 49 points. We have to start with Devin's 49-point display against the Utah Jazz from this season when he was simply unstoppable, but couldn't take his team to a win. The Jazz has been a surprise package this season, but even they wouldn't have thought about winning when Booker started the game on the front foot and ended it with 49 points. Playing over 41 minutes, Booker's shooting from the field was decent, but going 2 for 9 from 3-point shooting is terrible. He still made all his free throws, and that meant Booker had put together 49 points in a double-double, as he also produced 10 assists and 8 rebounds on the night. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for the Suns to win against the Jazz, but Booker's inspired performance became one of the moments when he simply went beast mode, and no one had any answers to the Booker problem. Followed by Booker's 50-point display against the Wizards, 2019. This was truly magnificent from Devin Booker, who gave it his all against the Wizards a few years back, but once again, it wasn't enough to help his side get the win. D-Book played a total of 36 minutes and came up with 50 points and made 19 of his 29 attempts from the field. He only missed one of the 10 free throws he took and had 10 rebounds to go along with his staggering one-man show. 4 assists, a steal, and a block complemented Booker's all-around display, but the Wizards edged the game thanks to inspirational displays from Bradley Beal and Jabari Parker. However, it was Booker's purple patch when he dropped 2 50-point displays in back-to-back games in March of 2019, but the Suns lost in both instances. Then Booker's 51-point show against the Bulls, 2022. This is one that we've already talked about, and in terms of efficiency, it's probably Booker's best display. However, the most pleasing thing has to be the fact that it was the first time that the Suns had won when Booker had scored 50 points or more, so that must have felt good. And to be fair, he really gave it his all as he had 4 rebounds and 6 assists along with a block, as the Suns downed the poor Chicago Bulls side by 19 points. The question, though, remains, could he have broken his 70-point record if he had come out for the fourth quarter? Into the top 3 performances. Booker's 58-point night against the Pelicans, 2022. This is the most recent entry on the list, and it's thanks to Devin Booker's sensational display when against the New Orleans Pelicans from a couple of days ago in mid-December 2022. The Pelicans and the Suns have a bit of rivalry going on with various words exchanged and some disrespecting moments. However, Booker dropping 58 points was just the perfect way to reply to the drama. Playing 42 minutes, Booker came up with 50% three-point shooting and made 21 of his 35 field goal attempts to score his 58 points. Surprisingly, the 26-year-old was very poor from the free throw line, and had he made all 15 attempts, he could have been looking at a 60-point night. But he still had more to contribute as he had 5 assists and helped out defensively with 6 rebounds as the Suns stumped the Pelicans with a brilliant performance from Booker. Coming in as the penultimate pick, Booker scores 59 in Utah loss, 2019. It would seem that Utah Jazz can stop the Suns, but they tend to struggle against Devin Booker. In late March 2019, D-Book was in sensational form, dropping back-to-back 50-point-plus performances against the Jazz and the Wizards, but the Suns would lose both games. The 59-point performance against the Jazz was truly special, though. Despite having a decent supporting cast, D-Book scored more than 64% of the points that night for Phoenix, and Utah couldn't live with him. He also had the most rebounds for the Suns, coming up with 7, but his 62.5% three-point shooting and 55% from the field helped him to the second highest tally of his career. Despite doing all the heavy lifting single-handedly, Booker and his Phoenix side fell to the Jazz in a blowout, losing 125-92. Finally, at number 1, Devin Booker's 70-point explosion. Aged only 20, Devin Booker rewrote history in Boston as he became the youngest player to score 70 points in an NBA game. In fact, he remains one of 6 players ever to reach that point, and it's the most any player has ever scored since Kobe Bryant's 81-point madness against the Raptors in 2006. The youngster went nuts in the second half in particular, scoring 51, and even though he couldn't help his team to a win, he still broke some big records. He made 20 free throws in the second half, tied for most in a half with Michael Jordan's 20 in the second half at Miami back in 1992. In fact, of all the active players, D-Book has the highest scoring career high of any player. And let's not forget, LeBron's still active too, and it's 9 points more than LeBron's career best. But is anyone really surprised? Booker's a sensation. That's a wrap for this video. Which of these D-Book moments stands out for you? Do you think his 70-point performance is one of the NBA's greatest moments? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.